Okay guys, so the first step is always to start out with a cleansed and moisturized face. You're going to cleanse and moisturize your face to make sure your foundation goes on best as possible and you receive the best results as possible. Okay, so my face is already cleansed and now I'm just going to go ahead and moisturize it. This is the usual moisturizer that I use. It's from ROC. It has an SPF F30 and it's nighttime right now, but if it were day, I would definitely make sure to use a moisturizer with SPF in it. I'm just going to go and dot it all over my face. Any type of facial moisturizer will do, but you're going to want to make sure that if you're using an oil-free facial moisturizer, that you're also going to want to follow up by using an oil-free foundation and vice versa. If you're using an oil-free foundation, using an oil-free moisturizer is only going to make your foundation go on even better. Okay, so now that I let my moisturizer absorb for a few minutes, I do this because it allows my foundation to go on smoother without being too oily, too heavy, or having too much product on my face. So what I did was I let it set in for about 3 to 5 minutes, and now I'm going to move on to primer. Now, primer is definitely an optional step, but I always opt to use primer, especially mattifying primers, because I have oily skin. And if you have drier skin or if you have very porous skin, you're going to want to make sure to get the proper primer for your face. I have a few primers from the drugstore, each kind of serving a different purpose. This is the Rimmel Fix and Perfect. It smooths lines, resurfaces, brightens, mattifies, and protects. So this is going to be great if you have oily skin. I have Instant Age Rewind from Maybelline, which has a little bit of a pink tone to it and is also very creamy, not creamy, more of a silicone base. So that's going to be great if you have older skin type or if you have drier skin or dull skin. I have the NYC Smooth Skin, which is very similar to the Age Rewind. It doesn't have the pink tint, but it is very silicone based and has a very smoothing effect to the skin. So this is going to be great for drier or flaky skin types. This right here is the Neutrgena Shine Control Primer, and I've really been liking this one lately. This will probably be the one that I use, and I like this because it mattifies the skin and gives it a really smooth, very flat finish. So that's going to be really great for your foundation to stick to. I'm going to use my e.l.f. blush brush, and I'm going to smooth my primer all over my face. When working with primers, it's best to start applying them in the areas you need them the most. Since I have oily skin type or a combination skin type, I'm going to be applying it mostly in my T-zone, since that is the area that gets the shiniest and produces the most oil. Okay, one of the best tips I can give you when applying your foundation is making sure to give each individual product time to do its thing. Okay, so you need to let your moisturizer soak in, you need to let your primer set, and you need to just let everything have its own chance to kind of cook into your skin. If you go in and just apply everything on top of each other, you're gonna have a sloppy, messy, oily foundation finish that doesn't really stick well to your skin, and it doesn't last well throughout the day. Okay, so now that my primer is set in, it's time for foundation. I know many of you may have thought that concealer was next. However, I like to apply my foundation first and then concealer and or color corrector. You don't have to use both concealer and color corrector. You don't even have to use foundation. If you're the kind of girl who skips foundation, now is your time to get your concealer and begin to go in and correct the few areas that you want to correct. I will have a foundation routine coming up soon using only concealer. Okay guys, so the next up is foundation, and what I'm going to do is show you some of my favorites from the drugstore. Here I have L'Oreal Lumi, and this is in C78 Nut Brown, and I really like this. And if you're a girl with duller skin or drier skin, you're gonna like this. You're also gonna like it if you're the type of girl who likes more of a dewy foundation, but if you have very oily skin, this may not be the best foundation for you. It's definitely worth a try. It has a really great color payoff. Now, for all my oily girls out there, Revlon Color Stay, and this is in Mahogany 440. This is a great match. If you're going to use this, definitely make sure to work fast because it dries fast, but it has a really great payoff and it has a really long lasting wear. Next I have CoverGirl, and I'm kind of excited about this because this is a new formulation for me. Never really been a huge fan of CoverGirl foundations, but this one actually has a really great payoff, and it has 3 uses in one. It's the use of a foundation, a primer, and a concealer all in one. So if you need something that has a higher coverage, this may be something that you want to try. These are the L'Oreal True Match, and these are actually my favorite from the drugstore right now. I'm more of a warm tone. Right here I have warm 9.5. Warm means more of a yellow, sunny, golden tone. And then I have also cool here, and this is cool 8. Cool's more of a pinky or red undertones. So I really like these. I'm going to go ahead and start my foundation using L'Oreal True Match. There are several ways to apply your liquid foundation. I am going to use an e.l.f. flat top bronzing brush. You can use a traditional foundation brush, you can use a sponge, you can use your hands, you can use a stippling brush. I will have a few links in the bottom bar with a few different foundation routines using a few different tools. Here you can see I have some foundation here on my brush. I'm going to take it and I'm going to dot it all over my face and then blend it out. Here you can see I have one coat of the foundation on, and I really like the coverage. It covered most of my flaws. It's a really great color payoff. Now I have a little bit more on my brush, and I'm going to take in areas that need a little bit more coverage, and I'm going to use my brush like a stippling brush, like a dual fiber brush. I'm just going to stamp it rather than blend it because that is going to cause the foundation to act more like a concealer. This is a beautiful foundation. It really has a great color payoff. My skin looks really healthy. It doesn't look like a mask, although it looks really even. I'm really impressed by the L'Oreal foundations. Now, if you're the type of person who likes a super simple foundation, you can absolutely stop right here. What I'm going to do is continue with a little bit of concealer and some bronzer and some blush, and then we're going to see where we can go from there. My foundation is still wet, and I'm going to go in and look at my face and see if there's anything more that I want to cover. Okay, so there's not anything more that I want to cover, so I'm not going to go in with the concealer that's pretty much the same tone as my skin to cover anything. And I'm not going to use any peach concealer to correct anything. If you need help with either of those areas, I will have a video in the bottom bar teaching you more about how to cover dark spots using a proper technique of color correction and concealer. So since my skin is even, it's not flawless, it's even, and it's acceptable for today, what I'm now going to do is go in and add a little bit of definition to my skin, a little bit of a highlight. Highlight means to bring the attention of light or to kind of add light to the high planes of your face. I'm going to do that by using concealer. You can use concealer, anything that's lighter or shimmery in tone than your skin. You can use an eyeshadow, you can use a foundation. I'm going to use a concealer today to achieve a really natural effect. The concealer I'll be using today is from Maybelline, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is from their Fit Me line, and this is in color 30 Cafe. It's obviously not my color, but it is something that I can use in the center of my face, up my cheekbones, or under my eye if I choose to. Down the bridge of my nose, on my chin, and in the forehead area. Okay? And we do that to make our skin look healthy, to make it look as if the light is naturally touching those areas of our face. Again, I'm going to take my e.l.f. blush brush, I cleansed it, and I'm just now going to go in and blend out my highlights. Okay, and this makes the skin look super natural because you know what? Your skin has high and low lights. Your skin is usually not one solid color. So that's usually why some people's makeup looks really bad, even if it's a good color for their skin. If it's one color, it can make us look a little dead. Okay, if you see it gets a little too carried away, or if you feel it looks a little too ashy, take a brush with some of your foundation on it and go back in and get things under control. Okay, sometimes you can even mix your highlighting color with a little of your foundation color. Okay, and you see there, I've given my nose a little highlight without doing anything too drastic. And if I do say so myself, my face is looking really good, and I've been tripping lately on my foundation. I've definitely been on my foundation snob type stuff, but I'm really proud to say that this is a full drugstore face. Okay, so I've got my highlight. See now, lately I've been filming without sound, and this is why. I live in a very small building with a whole bunch of inconsiderate neighbors, and c'est la vie. Okay, so I've added my highlighter and my face looks great. Now I might want to add a little bit of a low light, aka a contour, aka I want some areas of my face to recede and seem a little smaller. Contour just a little bit. I don't want to scare you guys. I don't want to make this hard. So what I'm now going to do is go in with black Opal, and this is called Total Coverage Concealing Foundation in Carob. My darker skinned women out there, this is for you. If you're a few tones darker than me, it's a beautiful color. What I'm going to do with this color is go in and slim and contour my face just a little bit using my e.l.f. brush again. I'm going to take it, I'm just going to swirl it back and forth in the product, and then I'm going to go in and add a very little bit. A lot of you say things like, wow, you know, that's a lot of makeup, or you know, do you go out with that much makeup? And as you can see, it's a very, very, very light difference from my skin. It's not even as dark as I thought it was. But I'm just going to use it to create a little bit of a contour in my face, a very little bit. Now I'm going to go in and stamp and blend it out, so I don't have too much makeup on my face. It's going to make it very, very natural. And as you can see, there's a very natural finish. I'm pretty much done with my foundation, to be all the way real with you guys. Now what I'm going to do is set everything into place so it doesn't move, so it doesn't get on my clothes, so it doesn't get on my partner, so it doesn't get on my phone, so it doesn't get on my keyboard. I'm going to be using translucent powder. If you are darker skinned, I know that this seems really scary, but you're going to want to give it a try. I like the pressed powder from NYC, and I also like the loose powder. And I'm just going to take my brush and dip it in the product, and I'm just going to lightly go in and press it all over my face. And I know at first you could see the powder, but that's because the oil in my skin hasn't absorbed it yet. Same thing I did to my lips in my Maryland video. This just helps everything to last longer. You're just really going to push that into your skin. Okay, try not to sweep it too much, because you may disturb your foundation. You're just going to push it into your skin. And if you're using a long-lasting foundation, or you have dry skin, a powder might not be the best set for you. So that's when you're going to want to look into Fix Plus from MAC, which is a setting spray. Urban Decay All Nighter, which is a setting spray. Makeup Forever has a setting spray. Quite a few brands have setting sprays, okay? So definitely make sure to Google that. I'm going to let that set on my face for a few minutes. Let the oil in my skin have at it just a little bit. Kind of take that ash away. Then I'm going to knock off any excess. And when we come back, we're going to do the bronzer and the blush and the lips and the eyes. Okay, so as you can see, my foundation has set. I knocked off all the excess powder, and then I went in and I gave it 2 spritz with some setting spray. The next step is to go in for the bronzer and the blush. For my bronzer, I will be using CoverGirl Queen Collection Bronzer in Ebony. And the reason I really like this bronzer is because it makes blush look so much better. It really helps it transition from bronzer to a nice blush tone, and then maybe a blush highlight on the apple of the cheek. Let me show you what I mean. Starting mid of my cheek hollow, I'm just going to sweep the bronzer up slightly around my temples and through my cheek. Sweeping the bronzer around your cheekbones helps to give you a permanent smile look on your face. And that helps, especially if you don't smile too much. Next, I'm going to go in with another matte blush. This is actually MaiTai from Milani. I'm going to take that on this same brush and begin to sweep that through the bronzer, kind of at a midway point. Just so it fades from bronzer to blush. I'm going to make sure that they blend very nicely and that they're hugging my new created super stupid cheekbones. And I'm just going to blend that all together. See the difference? I love makeup. Next, I'm going to take another blush from Milani, and this is called Luminous. And I'm going to take that on my very same brush, and I'm going to apply that right to the apple of my cheek and up my cheekbone. This is more of a shimmery blush, and it's really going to add a pop of delight to my face. Yeah, a pop of delight. Just going to blend that out. For my eyes, I'm going to do something very simple. So what I'm going to do is take this e.l.f. shadow and liner stick, and I'm going to go in and highlight my tear ducts and a couple other places on my face and create a very, very simple smoky liner situation. Perfect for the beginner face foundation. One side is bronze and one side is dark brown. As you can see, I added a highlight and a dark brown shadow. Now I'm just going to go in and blend out the highlight. As you can see, I have some black liner, some brown liner, and I have a golden bronzy highlight going on. Now I'm going to go in with some e.l.f. liquid liner and do a really simple cat eye. Okay guys, so as you can see, I went in and did my eyebrows. I didn't do them in this video because I thought that it would definitely make the video too long. If you do need help with your eyebrows, you can definitely click right here. And if you can't click right here, I will have a link in the bottom bar. The final step is to go ahead and do the lips. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my lips with CoverGirl Sublime, which is a warm brown liner. And then I'm going to fill it with a nude liner and then a nude lip gloss. The new lip gloss is Milani Simply Natural. I could either use Revlon Plumberry or L'Oreal Infallible Hopeful. I think I'm gonna go with Hopeful. Okay guys, so there you have it, the best full face drugstore routine ever.